So 1 trillion tokens have been removed from the circulating supply. Here, I have Class C to talk about it. I'm Pocket Hercules. Let's get into it, bro. So what does the burn mean for the circulating supply? I mean, I know that all of that being erased isn't just the burn rate, right? I mean, the burn rate is pretty low for it to be half a trillion, right? Am I wrong on that? Or is it mostly mistake?
Well, half a trillion is quite a bit of coins. If I had to say for myself, that's a lot. But keep in mind,
That's a lot.
7 trillion were kind of created in the Terra Luna collapse. So yeah, the burn hasn't actually started. That for sure hasn't started. Now there's been a couple of outskirt efforts that have started. MEXE burnt like 500 million.
MEXE, right?
Yeah, Lunatics burned around what, like 2 billion coins. So
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely leading though. Right.
Yeah, there's something going on, but remember that there's 7 trillion coins, so we've got to find a way to cut the circulating supply. People are thinking something kind of like Shiba Inu, where people want to burn things, except that we finally have the opportunity because of this representative democracy that we've got going on, that we can go ahead and finally, for the first time ever, control the blockchain itself with this little thing called voting with representation, or pretty much every republic out there, democracy that exists out there, but it's just decentralized to the point, right, that people can go ahead and choose. So what they decided to do, 1.2% on-chain tax burn happening September 12th. That's going to be happening. It's going to be cutting from the actual supply. What happens is that out of every transaction, they actually send 1.2% of it, split it off into a different transaction, and send it to a dead wallet. And that essentially burns.
That's what the burn is.
Yes,
right.
That is exactly
it just
what the
removes
burn
it.
is.
They cease to exist. Of course,
yeah,
of course.
Puts it in the back, yeah.
Right, but a question I saw coming up, and it wasn't really being addressed by anyone, was what happens at the point of me giving you the tokens? Like, you're going to become one of the new validators, right? That's going to be big later in the future, towards the end of October. So what happens when people stake those tokens with these validators? Like, can they just tuck and run? Can they put it in a cold wallet, dip, tornado cash it later? Like, what are the safety parameters for people, and what are the incentive structures really looking like for these for the people and for the validators?
That's fair. That's a fair question. Okay, so first off, we got to talk about the 3 things that you can do on a validator. First off, if you didn't know, validators are the people that end up voting on each of the proposals on Terra Luna Classic. This is literally on-chain. You push things through the blockchain. If it passes, the code literally straight up gets injected on the network, upgraded, and boom, you made an impact on Terra Luna Classic. So what's going on with that, and how can you get a part of that? First off, validators, they got to run on nodes, and those nodes, they cost money. So the way that they incentivize people to go ahead and do these nodes is by giving people a percentage in staking rewards. Now, how do staking rewards work? Kind of simple. I mean, you go ahead, you plop on there, put your tokens, give it to the validator, and boom, that's it. Now, that's usually where it ends, but on Terra Luna Classic, a bit different is the fact that you delegate votes based on the amount of tokens that you're giving to these validators. So they actually get this little thing called voting power. So it's very important that you delegate to people that not only do you trust their, their morals, right, and what they want to do, that they're
but
not
also
bad
align
actors.
with your views and values and what and align it in what you want the future of the project to look like. Right.
Exactly. It's just like voting. It's just like voting.
Right. It's just like voting. Right. And you just elect your representative.
Now, let's say you don't like your representative. Well, you can just redelegate, and that's it. You could just swap on over to anyone else. There's a 21-day cooldown, so you can't do it again, but you can pretty much instantly do it on the spot. Just got to wait 21 days to do it again. I think that's a great thing to combat against it, because there's a little thing called a max change. People can actually change the amount of commission that they take for each of these validators. So if somebody's a bad actor and decides to take a lot more commission, you can just redelegate. You can just go somewhere else.
You could just redelegate. Yep. Okay. So and then that kind of adds like a free market element to it, where validators are going to be incentivized to gain as much power. They're going to want to give as much back to the people. So that kind of makes sense. Okay. So, one thing I wanted to cover is what happens if the validator, now it's staked, it's been a month, everybody's chilling, everything's happy, proposals are being passed, proposals are being voted on. But what happens if a validator just says, you know what, I'm running off, right? Can I just take off with all your tokens? Is that a thing that can happen?
They don't own your tokens. So literally you would just redelegate or unstake it and you're fine.
Right. So they never possess your tokens. Yeah, that's big. That's big, because it should be a point of relief for everybody, especially given, the nature of many, many cryptocurrencies, right? So another thing I wanted to talk to you about was what is another big catalyst that we could see in Lunc coming in the future?
Yeah, I think the biggest catalyst obviously is the burn. Second would be the validators, because the second validators come, I'd heavily imagine that, well, it's implied, right, that venture capitals or other cryptocurrency projects working alongside those validators would come. So that's
Right,
probably,
and
yeah.
it's also going to increase the demand, right? Because to stake, you need to buy coins, right? That's just the simple
Right.
math of it, right? Right.
Yeah.
Okay, and then with the diminishing supply over time, by then there's going to be hopefully less coins, right? Way less coins, and
Yeah.
then in the future, 6 months later, there's going to be even less. And as you know, the ecosystem starts up, it's going to be good for everybody, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Right. So another point I wanted to talk about was that 1.2% burn rate on chain. You know, would that limit innovation to a certain degree? I mean, we always talk about in other sectors of economies and other sectors of economics where, you know, you get to the point of taxes and stuff like that. Regardless of your political views, you know, the increased cost of implementing or onboarding people onto a new technology or a new space, right, hinders growth. That is just the natural, just the way the things work, right?
Okay.
So do you see this burn rate being significant enough to deter people from wanting to build on the network?
Well, it's interesting because the thing is, when you have very slim margins, then no. I mean, there's no way you're going to be able to operate on the 1.2% on chain. Now, do I imagine that there's going to be a world that people are on Terra Luna just off chain, and because their margins were so slim, that's just an inevitability? Yeah, I could see that definitely happening, and that is a hindrance, and that would obviously lead to projects building on other blockchains. Now, in terms of where crypto is at the moment, I feel like most people are making more than enough in margins to be able to just work with the 1.2% on-chain tax.
Yeah, and justify it. And as well as the community, you know, everybody who's a player in the market right now is asking for more burn rate, right? Because we need to take care of the supply issue, right? For sure. So that's definitely a big thing. 100%, man. Well, I think that's all I wanted to cover with you right now, actually. So I'm gonna hit the closer.
Yeah, go for it.
Like and subscribe, guys. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions for me or Classy, let us know in the comment section. We read and we reply. Tweet at us, you know, keep us posted. And as always, dale.